now structured the salary and put everybody on their, better grade levels and everything, yours truly was on a 350k upgrade salary. Hey, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what if I had not taken that opportunity? What if I said it was, I beg it's 30k, I will not start. Hi everyone, so this video we're going to be sharing a personal experience, how I went from earning 30,000 naira to 500,000 naira within 6 months in my 9-to-5 job. Now, this story is going to be like a story time, I'm going to be telling a personal experience, and this is just, I'm motivated to share the story because I feel that a lot of people do not want to have like small beginning. We don't want to start small. So this is to encourage somebody that you never really know what God is up to. Like, this story is so funny, and every time I think about it, I'm just like, God has an amazing sense of humor. Okay, so let's get into this video and I'll tell you how my life changed in 2010 and I moved from an income or a job that was paying me 30,000 naira to paying me 500,000 naira. That is how much, like, my salary went from, I don't know, is it 10x or 20x or 30x, but my salary went from here to here. Now let's get into the video.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly away with me.
So I served in a bank, and let me go back a little bit. After I graduated, I studied fisheries in the university. And I remember, getting admission to study fisheries. That wasn't the course I wanted to study. And I get an admission. You know how JAMB will jam you, and then, you're like, okay, let me go and do pre-degree. Yeah, so I got into pre-degree, and I was like, okay, when I do the pre-degree, I would now be able to get into like medicine, one of those courses. But somehow that pre-degree course, they gave me agriculture. So I ended up studying agriculture and studying fisheries. And you can just imagine, when I was like, what am I going to do with a fisheries course? Am I going to become a farmer? Am I going to become a farmer? It was just so funny. But I was like, okay, let me become this fishery student, or let me graduate with this fishery course, and maybe in future I would switch. I just wanted to get it done. I just wanted to get university done. So I got into school, I graduated, and then it was time to serve, right? One of my aunties, amazing. Hey, that my auntie is so amazing. So one of my aunties connected me to Oceanic Bank. It was Oceanic Bank then, and I served in Benin City. I was already earning 40,000 naira as a banker. So the bank would pay me 40,000, and then, Youth Corper Alawi will now pay me. So I was already getting almost 45 to 50k as a youth corper back then. Now, after I finished service, I was like, okay, what next? How am I going to get a job? So randomly, my auntie calls me. So I have this auntie in Lagos back then, and I had stayed with her during my IT times. There was, when you have to do like internship, so I went to Lagos to do internship, agricultural internship. I've forgotten what they call it back then, but it was in Lagos, and I stayed with my auntie. So she called me after I served. It was just like I was just rounding up, youth, being from youth corps, and and she called me. She said, Bridget, there's this neighbor, or there's this tenant of mine that I have, and he works in an oil and gas company, and he's the HRO, and he just wants to employ somebody. So I was like, okay, I'm going to come to Lagos. So she said, how fast can you come to Lagos? I was like, I can come as soon as possible. So I went to Lagos, and I met the guy, and the guy was like, oh, do you have an accounting background? And I said, no, I don't have an accounting background. I studied agriculture, fisheries. So he said, how fast, like, you don't have an accounting background. The job that we want to offer you is going to be in accounting, and they're going to be using certain applications. One of the applications he mentions was Tally applications. I don't know, it's old, it's like an accounting kind of software application. So he said that they were going to be using Tally. It's an oil and gas company, so I was excited. Oh, oil and gas, I was excited. So I told my auntie, see, give me 1 week, right? I was going to go take a crash course, find somebody that was going to teach me the Tally software or the Tally, and then I'm going to come back. Guys, that's how I entered Lagos. And I went to my family friend. I don't even remember how I found this guy that was like, oh, he's very familiar with Tally. He's going to teach me Tally and a little bit of accounting. So that's how I began my journey. I paid this guy, and I was studying. He was taking me, we did a marathon of 1 week, extended it to a 2 weeks program, and then he gave me a certification. I have a certification, Tally certified. So after I got this certification, I went back to my auntie. I was like, auntie, I am ready. So the guy said, okay, that I was going to come for an interview in the company, and all of that. It was oil and gas company. I was so excited. But my people, it was so funny that by the time they offered me this job as an accountant in that company, my starting salary was 30,000 naira. I was like, 30,000 naira for account job. But so I went back home and I told my auntie, I was like, see, this job is 30,000 naira that they are offering me. My auntie was like, what kind of nonsense is that? What kind of job is that? You not take it. But I was like, something in me told me to take the job. I didn't know what it was. I was like, I was going to take the job, and I also did not want anybody to discourage me. So the only person who knew that that job had offered me 30,000 naira was my auntie. I didn't tell my mother. I didn't tell my siblings. I told my mom that I was earning about 70 or 80,000 naira. And then I was staying in my auntie's house. So it was not too difficult. And, then the company was in like VI, and my auntie used to stay in Ikoyi. So I would, transportation, it wasn't that bad. Traffic, it wasn't that bad. So I started the job. I started as an accountant on the job, zero experience, and, diligence would pay off. No matter where you are, it doesn't matter whether you are being paid well or you are not being paid well. If there's something that you need to do, just do it well. You really don't know who's watching you. You don't know how God is going to bless you. So I really worked hard. I worked so hard with this company. Like, I would do banking transactions. I would do, I was in charge of like, contractors payment. We will go deposit, change, we'll go initiate banking transaction, accounting, all of those things. I was doing all those things. I was working hard. Guys, guess what happened? Now, when I got into the company, it was at that time that they were trying to unionize the company. So, New Peng, Pengasin, New Peng, all the oil company, union, they were trying to unionize the company. So I had just come in at that time, at the very time they were trying to unionize the company, the company, because it was an Indian company. They were not paying the staff well. So most of the workers in the company, even though it was an oil company, like it was an upstream, you're going to have like downstream and upstream. I think that's what they call it, but it's been a long time. I can barely remember. So this company was doing very well. Like they had oil wells, it was the standard of Chevron. It was the standard of Shell, but because it was an Indian company, they weren't paying the staff well. So they have been fighting that battle for several years. Like it was almost going to like 3 years that they've been fighting the battle of, oh, we want to get the union. We want to unionize the company and bring Nupeng, Pengasin, all of that. That was, at the time when I came in. So they were now compiling because they had now approved the process. While, as in, just when I was getting into the company, that was when they were approving the process, approving those people who will now be like a part of Pengasson, approving those people who were now going to be a part of Nupeng. Now, Pengasson is like senior staff and Nupeng is like junior staff. So they added me to the senior staff list. That was how. Immediately they approved after the battle. Like, this was a long battle, strong battle, strong battle, union battle. If you understand unions in Nigeria, strong union battle, like they were going back and forth for several years. So it was at the time when I came into the company that they now won the case. They now like were compiling this. They now structure salary, all of that. Guess what? I when they now structured the salary and put everybody on their, better grade levels and everything, yours truly was on a 350K upgrade salary. Hey, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, what if I had not taken that opportunity? What if I said it was, I beg it's 30K, I will not start. So every time I think of that story, I'm like, God has an amazing sense of humor. And I think he just wanted to, he just directs your path, and it's funny. That story is still funny. So I was not working in the company, and prior to that, they would say that the company would never ever transfer anybody. Like, they were so mad. The company was so mad that they eventually brought Pengasson in, that they eventually brought Nupeng in, which meant that they had to start paying allowances, they had to pay higher salary for people, imagine upgrading people from 40K to almost 400K. Some people started earning 500K salary from 40K. Man, it was an amazing turnaround. So they will pay allowances. So they were now setting allowances like travel allowance and feeding allowance, all those things, So they upgraded everything. So that time, it was now time for me to get married. So when I wanted to get married, and they were like, see, and getting married meant that I was going to relocate from Lagos to Delta State, Warri, right? Because that was where my husband was. So I was so scared. I was like, everybody I would speak to, I was like, see, my husband is in Warri. I don't know. I don't want to lose my job. They say, that this company, that the Indian company, that they will never transfer me to Warri, that they would rather terminate me because, being a Pengasson staff meant that my salary was very high. So they would rather terminate me and bring like a junior staff or a Nupeng staff that didn't have to come into the union, and they can just pay that small salary. But guess what? I went to my manager and I was like, oh, I'm getting married and I'm going to be moving to Delta State. And lo and behold, because of me, they opened a Warri office. I was like, so he was like, oh, they've been trying to, because they had like oil wells back in Kwale and all of that, and they needed like, a landing place because the airport is in Warri. So they've been trying to like, structure that, but it never came to fruition. So when I said I was getting transferred, the man was like, so he was not like, oh yes, oh, they can get an office, they're going to open an office for me in MBTC. If you're very familiar with Delta State, Warri, that they're going to open an office for me in MBTC, Warri, and then they will transfer me to Warri, and then I'll be the accountant in Warri. It was the greatest miracle of all. So when I now got married and moved to Warri, that was how, because in Lagos that they had like cafeterias, they had a bus, they had a shuttle, they had a bus. So because they moved me to Warri, and Warri did not have a cafeteria, Warri did not have a bus, guess what? They started giving me feeding allowance. They started giving me transport allowance. So in a week, my feeding allowance was like 3,000 Naira, and my and my transport allowance was like 1k. So it was like 4k allowance every day. Now multiply 4k times 5 days. Hey God, like every time I sit down and I just think of that time in my life, I've never seen any miracle like that in my life before. So that was how I moved from, a job that was paying me 30,000 naira to a job that was paying me almost 500,000, like plus salary plus weekly allowance. I upgraded to 500. So this story, I think it has been one of my driving force every time I come across opportunities. A lot of people get discouraged when they come across opportunities and they're like, oh, the salary, or they don't want to give their best at that time because they're only, you're short-sighted and you're just looking at what is in there for me right now. You never really know how God is going to change that situation. You never know what God's plans are. So God can do, like, I don't even know how you will pinpoint that, this is probably a miracle from God. But this video is just to encourage somebody that when you find opportunities, don't underestimate the power of starting small, right? Don't look down on an opportunity and say, oh, I'm not going to give my 100%. The reason why that job worked out for me, one of the reasons why my manager approved that transfer and I was able to keep my job after marriage and moving, something that they would typically not do, was because I came with my A game. I gave my all. I gave 100%. I did not hold back. I did not hold back. Excuse me. I did not hold back. I did not say, oh, because, I'm earning 30,000, I'm not going to do the job well. I was on point. Like, if there was anything like the best staff, like it was me, I would show up. I would do my due diligence. You would even think I had a degree in accounting. So that was how I started my accounting journey. And that's why every time I see an opportunity, I jump on it, because I go back and I remember that time in my life where God used this situation to change my life. So if you're out there and there's a job, you're probably wondering, should I take this job? The salary is not looking nice. I don't know what to tell you, but I want you to pray and look inwards, and wherever it is that you find yourself, let's say you currently have a job and you don't like the job, but I still want you to give your 100% to that job, because you never really know who's watching. You never really know the opportunities that may come from that opportunity. This is just a video that I just wanted to share about my personal experience, and hopefully to motivate somebody who is going through it right now, and to say maybe if you have a similar experience, if you have something that God did, a miracle. I think that is one of my most striking miracles in my life, or that's I think about it so many times. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how that happened. So if you have a similar story or something to share, just share in the comment section. Don't forget to share this video to somebody who is, to inspire somebody that all hope is not lost, to inspire somebody to, get out of your comfort zone. I just think about, what if I said I am not an accountant? What if I said I cannot do it? That opportunity would have passed me by. I learned a very, very significant lesson from that thing in my life. And that is why every time I see, I'm an advocate of multiple streams of income. Every time I hear someone want to give me an opportunity, I don't just push it aside, because it might just be the next big thing. Okay, so bye everyone. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, share this video, and watch out for my next video. Remember to comment on this video. Thank you and bye.
Come and fly away with me. Come and fly